All right, let's jump straight into it. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a totally chaotic 24-hour period, Friday, June 26th, 2026. Now, on the surface, what we got were 5 seemingly completely unrelated news stories breaking in the dead of night. But when you piece them all together, they reveal this massive, undeniable shift. Technology's sheer scale is literally forcing compromises on every single one of us. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering corporate power versus culture, the $80 gaming era, AI and the security illusion, and finally, crypto's vulnerable front lines. Let's get right to it. Section 1. Corporate power versus culture. So the night kicked off with an absolute shocker. Amazon MGM Studios mysteriously canceled a highly anticipated film called Artificial. This was supposed to be a gripping biopic directed by Luca Guadagnino starring Andrew Garfield as Sam Altman, and it was going to explore that wild November 2023 management crisis over at OpenAI. So why on earth was it killed? Well, it boils down to one phrase: strategic partnership. See, just 4 months ago, Amazon signed a whopping $50 billion deal with OpenAI, and OpenAI relies heavily on Amazon Web Services to train its models. That infrastructure creates a massive direct commercial dependency, which essentially makes it impossible for Amazon's studio arm to produce a critical film about its biggest client.
I mean, this quote from a Hollywood industry analyst really hits the nail on the head. The irony here is just incredibly thick, because Artificial wasn't even a hit piece. It was simply the true story of a management crisis. You know, the board drama, the emergency weekend negotiations, Microsoft stepping in as kingmaker. But because of these billion-dollar corporate ties, that true story has effectively been memory holed.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the implicit censorship of the modern streaming era. Netflix relies on AWS and Google Cloud. Apple has its own AI partnerships. The whole interconnected web of dependencies means that producing a critical narrative about a tech giant is now a massive commercial risk. So it really makes you wonder, if Amazon won't make it, will any major studio dare to make this film?
Okay, let's shift gears to the gaming world, because this corporate ruthlessness isn't just happening in Hollywood. Tracking Bungie's slow-motion collapse reveals a pretty tragic irony. Back in 2022, Sony bought the legendary creators of Halo for $3.6 billion, specifically to build live service games, and they promised them creative autonomy. Yet, fast forward to June 25th, and they entirely stripped that autonomy away. They dismantled the team, laying off nearly 300 people just weeks after Destiny 2's final update dropped.
So what drove Sony's finance team to pull the plug so ruthlessly? A staggering 72% drop in Destiny 2's daily active users over just 3 years. They went from 3.2 million daily players down to under 900,000. With revenue tanking 61% year over year, the executives looked at the massive costs of maintaining an aging game engine and just said, nope, we're done. But why did this happen? Well, the perpetual live service stream is frankly exhausting. Players are dealing with serious content fatigue. They're frustrated by super unclear pricing like what's base game, what's DLC, what's a microtransaction, and they are completely burnt out by the fear of missing out on time-limited events. Plus, studios are hitting a massive content velocity problem. They literally just cannot physically produce high-quality content fast enough to satisfy daily players while still actually turning a profit. It just proves that continuous corporate revenue extraction eventually exhausts the exact people it relies on.
Which brings us right into Section 2, the $80 gaming era.
Player exhaustion leads us perfectly into the new consumer reality. Because as the scale of modern entertainment reaches unprecedented, sky-high levels, those massive development costs, yeah, they are being passed straight to you. $2 billion. That is the estimated development cost for Grand Theft Auto 6, which finally opened for pre-orders on this exact same chaotic night. With fully dynamic weather systems, like we're talking realistic hurricanes here, and incredibly advanced AI for non-playable characters, production costs have ballooned to rival and even surpass Hollywood's biggest blockbusters.
And to recoup those $2 billion, Rockstar is officially putting a nail in the coffin of the $60 gaming era. They are setting a highly controversial new industry standard. The base game, that's now $80. And if you want the bonus story mode content, you are forced behind a $100 paywall for the Ultimate Edition. Industry analysts are already predicting that pretty much every major publisher is going to adopt this pricing model within the next 18 months. Get your wallets ready.
Moving right along to Section 3, AI and the security illusion. As tech companies scale up their costs and their corporate dependencies, they're also scaling up the threats.
And we are seeing a truly frightening evolution in the cybersecurity arms race right now. It's called prompt injection. Security researchers just discovered that hackers, most likely from North Korea, are targeting macOS systems with new malware written in Rust. But here's the crazy part. They aren't using traditional hacking methods to stay hidden. Instead, they are using prompt injection to target third-party security tools that rely on artificial intelligence.
We are facing a terrifying strategic shift. This malware isn't just trying to hide in the shadows anymore. It is actively using social engineering to literally gaslight the AI defense systems. By embedding fake debugging data and secret instructions in multiple languages, the malware actively tricks the AI's reasoning process. It tells the AI, hey, I'm fine, don't worry about me, successfully categorizing a severe threat as low priority. It's basically a Jedi mind trick on your antivirus.
All right, Section 4, Crypto's Vulnerable Front Lines.
This overarching theme of super sophisticated deception dominated the crypto world on June 26th, too. It started with SIM swapping, a massive, coordinated bust by Polish authorities and the FBI, with a huge assist from independent researcher Zach XBT, took down a gang that had stolen millions. They did it by bribing telecom employees or exploiting customer service reps to route victims' text messages straight to their own phones. It's a stark, scary reminder: if you are still relying on SMS-based two-factor authentication for your security, your setup is completely obsolete. You gotta change that today.
Meanwhile, a $3 million heist on the decentralized prediction market Polymarket introduces us to the front-end attack. Now, the blockchain itself wasn't hacked. The smart contracts were perfectly secure. But, and this is a huge but, perfect blockchain security means absolutely nothing if the web layer, the actual website you are looking at on your screen, is compromised.
Let's step through exactly how this insidious supply chain attack went down over a brief 4-hour window. Attackers compromised a third-party vendor, which let them inject malicious JavaScript right onto the legitimate Polymarket site. But they didn't just blanket target everyone. No, they cleverly configured the code to only show fake security update pop-ups to users holding over $10,000 in their wallets. Tricked by a site they already knew and trusted, these extremely wealthy users actually manually typed in the recovery phrases.
And here is how fast it all disappears. This methodical, 5-step laundering process shows exactly why front-end attacks are so devastating. The absolute second you voluntarily hand over those keys, the decentralized network is expertly weaponized against you. The funds were bridged to Ethereum, converted, scattered to the wind, and completely washed through the Tornado Cash mixer before anyone even knew what hit them. Just poof, gone.
Which brings us to our final section, the conclusion.
So, what is the big takeaway from this totally chaotic 24-hour period? I mean, we covered massive layoffs, silenced movies, $80 video games, gaslit AI, and multi-million-dollar crypto heists. The reality is, whether it's legendary gaming studios becoming victims of ruthless financial strategies, artificial intelligence being socially engineered by malware, or sophisticated crypto users falling for a fake pop-up on a trusted domain, the illusion of a secure, transparent tech ecosystem has been completely shattered by scale. The bigger these systems get, the more entangled and the more vulnerable they become.
I'm going to leave you with that provocative thought. Technology is brilliant, right? But it is definitely no longer simple. So please protect your accounts. Seriously, ditch the SMS authentication, question the media you consume, and always ask yourself why certain stories aren't being told. And remember, in an age of automated convenience and multi-billion-dollar corporate partnerships, your own critical thinking is, without a doubt, your absolute greatest asset. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay vigilant out there.